If you're thinking of competing in bodybuilding this year, but not sure which is the best federation to start with, keep watching. My name is Paula, and in this video, I'm going to break down the pros and cons of the NPC and OCB Bodybuilding Federation. And by the end of you watching this, I hope you get more clarity on which one to start with first. Whenever someone asks me which bodybuilding federation to start with first, there's always three considerations I want them to think about. 1. What matters to you? Do you want to compete as a natural bodybuilder, or that's not really a big thing? 2. What is your ultimate goal? Do you want to compete and become a pro athlete, or it will be a one-time thing to fulfill a bucket list? And finally, what is your time commitment? Think of these three questions as I share the pros and cons of each federation. Let's start with the NPC Federation. NPC, in my opinion, is the ideal federation for a few reasons. 1. It is the most recognized federation in the world of bodybuilding. NPC is seen as a top-tier organization to compete for. And, in my opinion, NPC sets the trends and standards when it comes to ideal physique in almost all of the division that other federations try to emulate. 2. When you get your pro card for NPC, you will be a part of the IFBB Federation. The IFBB is the ultimate goal for most NPC competitors. And in the IFBB Federation, the prize money is so much more significant than any other federation because IFBB is one of the largest and most recognized federation around the world. And the top athletes almost gain popularity and become household names in the bodybuilding industry. 3. NPC is an authority booster in the fitness influencer space and bodybuilding space. For most people, you get more street cred if you are an NPC athlete and you're able to compete in the national shows and gain your IFBB Pro card. For most people, there is more notoriety when you have placed and competed for NPC national shows, mostly because of how arduous and competitive the shows are. And this is more relevant to athletes that are in the fitness industry. If your reason for competing in the NPC is to gain more notoriety, want to make an income as an IFBB pro athlete, consider that competing in NPC is incredibly competitive and will be a long journey, which leads us to some serious consideration you need to make. 1. NPC is not a natural federation. It is widely known that if you want to compete in the NPC Federation, then you have to accept that you might be competing with other competitors that participate in using steroids and hormonal supplementation to gain more advantage when it comes to having more muscles and being able to lose significant body fat while sparing muscle mass during their prep. This means that NPC is not the most beginner-friendly federation. There's a huge disadvantage if you are a first-time competitor, especially if you are just starting to build up your physique, since most NPC athletes have more established muscle mass and have been competing for years. 3. The road to pro card will take you several years, and you're looking at competing at least 2 to 3 times per year. In order for you to get your IFBB Pro card, you have to compete in a national qualifier show, place top 2 in your open class, and then you have to go to a national show where you could potentially be competing with dozens of competitors in your class and have to place top 2 to win your pro card. In short, you are looking at a very competitive and rigorous journey to your pro card that could take you years to accomplish. So, even though NPC is one of the most sought out federations to compete in, for a lot of people, they tend to quit or burn out from the federation very easily. So if you are someone who wants to compete as a natural athlete, want to use bodybuilding as an avenue to establish a healthy lifestyle and get your pro card right away, then you might want to consider competing in the OCB Federation. OCB has been gaining popularity lately and one of the fastest growing natural federation here in the States. The biggest pros for NPC Federation are it is incredibly beginner friendly. Since OCB is within the natural federation, the physique is more attainable for first-time competitors. The muscles mass and the muscle volume of the athlete is not as exaggerated. 2. The avenue in obtaining your pro card is less complex. You have to place first place on your open class and win your overall to get your pro card. And in some cases, if you place well, you can get your pro card in 2 to 3 shows. The shows are fairly small. In some shows, you will be competing with less than a dozen in your class. And believe me, that's a plus. With less competition, you have a higher chance of going home with a trophy. But there are also some few cons to consider. 1. The main cons I see for OCB is that while it's a natural federation and a small federation, the prize money is not as substantial in comparison to what the IFBB pro athletes receive. This is especially a big negative if you're looking into being a full-time pro athlete and want to make money as a pro athlete. 2, you have to plan well when it comes to your show date, especially if you want to stay local, because shows are widely spread out in different states every week. This will be definitely be challenging if you want to compete back to back, unless you're willing to travel long distance. 3. In the world of bodybuilding, OCB don't have the same prestige in comparison to OCB or IFBB Federation, which means that the OCB pros don't get the same popularity and influence as an IFBB pro athlete. In deciding which federation you should compete in, remember the 3 things I mentioned earlier that you need to consider. And based on your answer to those questions will help you figure out which federation is best for you. Remember, you can always compete in both federations to figure out which one you feel confident and comfortable in the most. The most important thing is that you don't want to compromise on anything. Hopefully, this helps you to figure out which federation you want to compete in for your first bodybuilding show. My best advice is to go to the closest local show and watch how each organization run the show. And this gives you an idea of what the judges are looking for in their athlete for different federation. And by going to the shows itself, it gives you the idea of who you will be competing with when you step on stage. Okay, that's it for today's video, and if you feel like this is helpful to you, don't forget to support my channel by subscribing, and see you on the next video. Bye!